Okay guys, I've had a request actually from a couple people now about driving this thing, seeing it drive down the road. I usually don't do this unless I'm super bored, but I'm going to go ahead and entertain it and point out that a couple things. One, it's been sitting here, I've been gone for about 4 days, been sitting here for 4 days, so you'll see a cold start. I've had some garage clearance issue questions. This is a standard garage door on my upper garage. That's a standard door height for any. This house was built in, the 90s, early 90s, actually almost around 90, I think. So to answer your question, standard garage door, it does fit in with the 35s. So that answers the garage door clearance question. Next question is, I've actually had a couple eBay knuckleheads. One of them brought up concern about this or in that, and he brought up the whole, it had a bad auto check score on eBay. I've actually posted a car that actually had a dirty Carfax on eBay that got the highest rating eBay has to offer, and then I post this 81 Jeep on there, and I didn't even look at it because I didn't even realize it would have it on there being so old, and somebody brought that up. He's concerned about the eBay rating. Well, let me tell you something about you, fella. If you're concerned about the eBay auto check rating on an 81 Scrambler, you need to go buy a new Honda Ridgeline and maybe, deal with that, because that's the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life, the auto check score on an 81 Jeep Scrambler on eBay. So again, go get you a nice little Honda and go cruise the back roads in that. That being said, for the other people who are serious and just want to see it go down the road and hear it, like I said, this is a cold start. And like I told you guys before, there's some chips where the tops goes on that's been touched up. The body is actually pretty nice, but it is a Jeep, and like I said, it's not a show Jeep, but it's a nice Jeep. So, but it's it's got bugs all over. We drive it. I don't keep this one show clean all the time. There'll be bugs on the windshield and stuff because we drive it. But anyways, so this is a 4 or 5 day. We'll call it a cold start. It's 90 degrees outside. There you go. And yes, I did pump the gas a couple times. It is not fuel injected, it is carbureted. So when it sits, you generally want to give it a little gas a little bit. Like I said, you can see the gauges work. It's got 2 amp gauges. I'm not quite sure why he did that because it's only got 1 alternator. But the other one will pump up once the other battery starts going. It's kind of a unnecessary evil. And you could always take that insert out and put an insert back in with a speedometer if you desire. So, like I said, that tick comes and goes. You really don't even hear it right now. So, but I'm going to drive it down the road, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you've never driven a CJ, you might want to go drive one. Even somebody else's first, because I've had numerous CJ buyers. I sell a lot of them. Trying to move the seat back here real quick. Let me try this again. My wife was in it. All right, so anyways, I've had numerous CJ buyers come to drive these things, and they think they're squirrely. Well, when you've driven a squirrely CJ, you'll know. And then I have people who've driven CJs come drive mine and say they're tight. My wife and kid drive it, so anyways, here's me going down the road, and this is going to be me going down the road with one hand. If you try to two-hand these and try to manhandle them and oversteer them, they're going to steer much worse. So if you let the thing go down the road and you just go with it, it'll be just fine. And I'll show you on this straightaway up here that you can actually let go of the wheel on this Jeep and it will drive straight. But I actually had one person come and test drive it. Very nice couple, very nice people, never driven a CJ before, or any lifted, even TJ can be squirrely. But this thing, like I said, I'm holding the camera with one hand and I'm driving it with one hand. And I live on back roads where they run semis. We have several large companies out here that run large rock, and we have the biggest lime kiln in the world down here. So our roads kind of suck. So you're going to get a little bit of play, but as far as driving down the road, like I said, I drive it one-handed, perk of living in the country. So, all right. Anyways, I gotta get up to this certain area where the road straightens out before I can. So, and you can see, like I said, you've got a little play in the wheel, and this has a brand new steering box on it. It's got many new front suspension parts. It's got the extra steering box stabilizer on it. So doing a little bit longer video than I normally would, also because again, I want to show people. So this could get a little boring. If you think CJs steer bad, don't ever buy a Scout. So here's a 40-mile-an-hour turn that I'm taking at about 50, and I'm actually even going to throttle through it and gas it. Whee! So anybody asking any stability questions, there's your answer to that. I just powered through that 40-mile-an-hour turn at about 50. So, okay, here's the straightaway. Like I said, if the road's decent, you're going straight. Look, no hands. This is no hands still. It's starting to drift a little bit, like I said. But as far as, the Jeep driving decent, the Jeep will go down the road. You can overcorrect it and steer it wrong. So, anyways, like I said, if you think you're going to buy a CJ that's tight as your new Impala or your, brand new Toyota FJ Cruiser, not going to happen. You'll hear that, you might hear that little lifter tick, and it's kind of weird because it'll actually come and go, which is kind of weird for a lifter tick, and to go away at idle, it's weird. And like I said, it don't do it all the time. It's bizarre. And there's your gauges. So I'm gonna go ahead. That was about 3.5 miles. I'm gonna go ahead and I gotta go 4 miles to town because I need a battery. I don't know if I'll shoot the whole rest of the 4 miles. You guys might get super bored. There's the highway. Anyways, inside noise-wise, and Baja Claws are kind of a noisy tire, but really not too bad. And as I said before in the previous video, I have not changed the oil yet. I have not had time. The oil was full when I bought it, but dirty, so it needs to be changed. Like I said, this is a utilitarian, dinosaur. It's a 1981, and it drives better than some 06 TJs I've had. But here's the other thing, if you're worried about a drop of water on the floorboard or a drip of oil and things like that, these old Jeeps aren't for you. No Scouts, no Land Cruisers, nothing. You gotta just go buy you a brand new Razor made in China for 22 grand, and you know, that depreciates every day in value. So carbureted life isn't for everybody. I'm gonna make a shirt that says that. You know, there's grown men in the world that don't know how to start a carbureted car anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. I guess if you don't own one and you're just gonna drive, you know, electric cars and Priuses, but you know, I like good old-fashioned gas fumes and carbon monoxide myself. My kids grew up huffing that shit and they seem to be all right. So anyways, like I said, long video, but gives you the gist of how it drives down the road, what it will and won't do. To me, you know, to pull up to a river spot or go fishing on a Sunday or, you know, cruise the back roads, how cool is it to have a classic Jeep going up in value instead of a, you know, new Razor made in China? And if you think your Razor wasn't made in China, I guarantee you there's parts on it that were made in China. So keep that in mind, you know, when you think you're buying a Kawasaki, or if you think Japan's better than China. Your Japanese Razor or your Japanese John Deere tractor actually has parts on it from China, guaranteed. So you kid yourself all you want, but I can tell you that none of the body panels on this Scrambler were made in China. And I can't say that the guy's Edelbrock carburetor, I don't know where it was made at, but you know, that engine block ain't from China, this body ain't from China, frame ain't from China. So anyways, just rant a little bit because I'm tired of misled people who think Mexico is part of the United States. So when you go to a certain auto parts store and you buy Motorcraft spark plugs and they're made in Mexico, you know, you think you're buying American, but you're really not. Just a heads up. And just also another little heads up, move ball joints and things like that, you know, that you all think you're made in America are now made in China also. So keep that in mind. I'm going to Dollar General here and get me a battery for my car remote for one of my other cars. But there you go. There's you know, that's pretty much 5, 6, 7, 8. That's about a 10-mile one-way trip. So there you go. Now you can hear her idling. So, you know, I try to be honest in these videos, and that's why I mention the tick, because I'm overly critical and I'm honest, you know, and then people overanalyze it and people want to use it as an excuse for this or that, whatever. If you're uncomfortable with it, don't buy it. I drive the thing every night. My wife drives it. My kid drives it. We all drive it. There you go. 81 Jeep Scrambler driving down the road, you know, 65 miles an hour. So, thanks.